Howdy. Welcome to another conversation on Frontlines to Frontiers. My name is Case Copeland with Divergence Academy. Want to welcome all the guests. Thank y'all for listening to this fun conversation that we're going to have today. And today we are going to be joined by an instructor from Divergence. His name is Jeremy Nathan. I'll tell you what, I'll let him introduce himself. Jeremy, how are you today?
Doing well, Case. Thanks for having me.
This is a lot of fun. Jeremy.
Yeah.
I started to do an introduction for you, but I'd much rather you do it yourself. So tell us a little bit about your story. You can give yourself a title on this. What's your role? What's your journey through your professional pathway? Give us a little background.
Yeah, thanks for asking. So I've been an instructor since 2015 and have been instructing people to gain skills in technology, such as Microsoft technologies and Excel and Copilot, Power Automate. And yeah, I've been real passionate about increasing people's skills to help them better their lives and to better their careers also.
That's awesome. Now, has that always been a passion of yours? Because I know your story didn't get started with you as an instructor. Go back a little bit before that. How did you even get to the instructor point in time?
Yeah, I used to be a manager at a call center actually, and I noticed that. So the way I got into this job is I noticed my employees, the team, what they would do is we would have team meetings, and I would show them how they were doing using charts and graphs in Microsoft Excel during the meeting. And I noticed how it lit up, or they could see where they're doing well or where they could improve. And then I noticed that in a lot of other industries, a lot of employee training was kind of lacking. So then that's why I started doing this, just to help people to gain more skills, and just been real pleased and real passionate about how those skills stick around with people for a long time. And now, getting into certification preparation with Divergence Academy.
Mm-hmm.
Has been really fun working in that area.
That's awesome. Now, in some of these previous conversations, we've talked about, of course, career transitions. We talk about people starting on their pathway, but we also talk about career pivots. Excuse me. People that have started on one path and at some point kind of just found an opportunity to either turn, angle away, jump tracks a little bit. Would you call that a career pivot, or is that just more of a natural transition in a different direction?
Yeah, sure. I'd call that a career pivot. And especially gaining these certifications, it allows people to really open up doors that they never even thought were possible for them.
Oh, that's a great topic. I know we're going to come back to here in just a minute. The value of certs is always a popular conversation. So would love to hear about your cert stories along the way. At what points did you decide to make certain decisions? But we'll come back to that one just for a second, because I want to focus on your journey as an instructor. You said you started in 2015. You've been with Divergence for, I think you told me, 4 years now. So where did you initially start teaching?
Yeah, I just started teaching for myself with JN Training Incorporated here out of Tennessee, and been instructing at mostly manufacturing companies where I write my own materials, my own books for every class that everyone gets to keep, and we bring computers that people get to use. And so really it's hands-on. And so, that's how I've taken that hands-on approach to Divergence Academy in the classes, and just really watching the students grow by showing them the tools they need to succeed in these specific skills.
Yeah, and I've known you for a few years now, so it seems like you've always really had a passion for the individual on the other side of that table. So with that, again, I know your experience is pretty broad. Has it always centered on people who are kind of entry level, people who are trying to get into new tools or new career pathways?
Yeah, I think it's kind of centered on being entry level, because a lot of those, let's say, people that maybe don't have these skills right now, or the advanced skills, teaching them just a few of these basics, we'll call it, really allows them to build upon those basic skills. Maybe compared to someone who may be more advanced, maybe someone who's more advanced, maybe they can learn on their own a little better. But yeah, as far as mostly we instruct, I guess you'd call it the foundation skills to people.
Mm-hmm. Well, so with that in mind, a lot of our audience, wherever our videos go out, it's a group of people who are considering getting in. They're go with the metaphor. They're on the edge of the pool. They're trying to figure out, what is my entrance? How do I get in? What are some of your just early fundamental wisdoms that you drop on all of your classes? What do you tell the people that are just thinking about getting started?
Yeah, one thing I tell people is just try out these new skills yourself. And then you'll see, really amazes me how they take those skills. And because I can't think of all the different ways they can use it in their own life, because there's an infinite amount of ways they can use it. And so for them seeing their eyes open up to how they can use these skills is just really motivating to me to teach more people these different technologies.
Well, your pivot was provoked by, obviously an opportunity. It was something that you saw, something that you noticed because you were already in motion. You were in a role and you saw an opportunity. But there's a lot of people who I don't think they clearly see their opportunity yet. So what's your wisdom for those folks that they kind of want to get in? They just don't see the door yet. They don't really see the leverage or the pivot point.
Yeah, well, technology's been the future for years now, and so it's these technology skills are becoming more necessary all the time,
Hmm.
and so really, I feel like it gives people a better job, better career, and allows them to let's just say have an office job compared to a different role. So I guess what I would tell them is just try to learn as much as they can, and it really motivates them to learn more different types of technology skills along the
Hmm.
way.
And you don't have to know the full pathway. You don't have to know every single step you're going to take. Sometimes it's just about getting in motion. It's that Newton's law: be an object in motion. Object in motion stays in motion. So even if you don't really know what your second or third steps are going to be, just get going, because this technology, of course, is going to be embedded into everything. We've talked earlier about the tools, Copilot specifically being this leverage. It's a tool that helps you no matter what you do produce more, produce better. So it's a volume enhancer in whatever field that you're in. So I like the idea of
Right.
what we communicate to our students is sometimes it's just important just to get yourself moving. You just got to be in motion. But other than that, what are some of any fun stories from the experience that you've had with learners that are novices, people that are really green trying to figure out? Any other big reflections that you think are really fun to talk about as far as what you've seen in some students?
Well, I've noticed a lot of students, at the beginning of a cohort, the beginning of a group, some of them may be quiet or maybe timid, but
Hmm.
once they start learning these skills, I've noticed they've even opened up, talked more, and really, when they see these skills, improving them right away, improving their skills immediately. I think it helps improve other skills that maybe we call soft skills, like the
Hmm.
speaking and just interacting. And so and especially that motivation it gives them, that I guess if you call that a fun story, that's just what I see in a lot of learners is how it sparks more enthusiasm in them compared to maybe other careers they may have had.
Right. Well, and especially because we know a lot of people that are job transitioning, they're stuck in difficult times. So a lot of people have that, we talk about imposter syndrome once you get out and start trying to apply. Even before that, there's a lot of people who are really struggling with, I want to say struggling with identity, trying to figure out not just how do I pay the bills, but what do I want to do? So I know they get lost, and that probably does affect, their enthusiasm for communicating, for those soft skills. So once they get a little bit of success, all of a sudden they start feeling a little bit more whole, a little bit more confident. And those moments are always really exciting to see, I know, from the teacher side of the table. Well, let's
Yeah,
be a little
and
more specific, though, moving forward on to the programs that you teach in with Divergence. So the data science program you've been teaching for a few years, and now we've started the automation process analyst program. So I'm assuming you've already got some great stories with our first delivery of the APAI program, people who were very novice, very green. What are you already seeing that's interesting as you're watching them develop in this new program?
yeah, and that's what makes me think about that the most of the skills that sparks that interest, because now that we're teaching more automation and automating tasks, so
Hmm.
that way, so we don't have to type on the computer, kind of like how a macro works in Excel, where you can record Excel steps. We're teaching how to do that on the desktop of a Windows machine. So when our students see that, one of my students just this week, he said, wow, now I can see how I can start using this. And when he says that, it motivates other students and
Uh-huh.
also gets them thinking how they can start using this immediately and just start practicing these skills that same day. And really, that's the most fun thing for me to see. uh, with automation class specifically.
Well, that's awesome. And one of the topics that you and I were previously talking about is this low code, no code design. It really makes this tooling
Right.
accessible to a lot of people who might have felt like, oh, that's just out of reach. It's too the tooling and the opportunities are too far advanced. So this really does open up a much broader entry level door.
Yeah, that's a good point you make, Case, is that a lot of people think IT skills, computer skills, wow, that's really advanced. It's
Hmm.
will take a lot of coding. But like you said, using Copilot and Power Automate and Power Apps, it's really you're using the user interface that Microsoft has provided, and it's just drag and drop, clicking on buttons. So yeah, really, it's not much code. It's more just clicking on the computer screen. So that's what really makes it easy to learn.
Mm. Well, and I guess it makes this moment a really easy opportunity for a pitch that, hey, if you're thinking about getting into a program, you don't have to be advanced to get started. Again, back to that idea, sometimes you just have to take that first step and get moving because this tooling isn't going to go away. This is picking up these skills, picking up these entry level fundamental knowledges are, the future proofing a little bit. It's giving you the opportunity for the future opportunities. Yeah,
Right, I think so.
sorry, that one sounded funny. But from the comparative perspective with the data science, that's also something that previously a lot of people thought data science, again, was this advanced opportunity that you had to already be at a certain level to get into that. And we had to dispel a lot of those myths that there still are entry levels from that data perspective. So, from a comparative or a side by side, what do you find interesting in the data science population versus the APAI population, or maybe the content learning? What do you find interesting in the comparisons of the two programs?
Yeah, I wouldn't call it as much comparisons as how they're kind of blended together because
Oh, how
now we're
so?
instructing Power BI. Yeah, we're instructing Power BI in both programs now. So the data analysis is there no matter what kind of job you have, no matter what role. Um, but I really like how the different programs are focused on maybe what type of skills people want to learn, whether it's more data or more automation.
Hmm.
I guess to compare the courses, uh, yeah, really both of them are interesting to me, and both are I think they're fun to learn, and so just by being able to learn these skills and just in the data analysis, I think one really great part about that program is just how the different ways you can analyze data, like in
Yeah.
Excel or Power BI or in Azure and SQL. So I think that's really interesting to see different ways you can do that. And like you said, it is a lot of low code in both the data science immersive and the
Mhm.
automation process automation immersive. So that's what they both have in common is there's not a lot of programming involved. And so yeah, really. So I have friends who are Python developers, and now they're going to focusing more on the Microsoft Power Platform because we see in the industry that, like you said, that looks like where the future is headed towards
Hmm.
using more of the user interface to do basically have the computer to do more of the powerful things, and so you don't have to do the coding yourself.
So I'm grinning a little bit because this next question is going to be a little bit hard for me to ask. Is Data Plus part of both programs?
Well, Data Plus actually in the data analyst, data
Hmm.
science immersive, um, but no, the Data Plus is not in the a certification automation process
Okay, but
analyst.
so it's in the data science one. But the reason I bring
Right.
that up is so I'm a math person and I love math. Yay for math. But I imagine even if you're not a math person, maybe that wasn't your strong suit, that still doesn't prohibit your opportunity to get into some of these worlds. So, these programs start with some fundamental layers, but I think there always used to be this association where if you went into data science, you had to be a math person. You had to understand all of the algorithms. But again, that's not really an inhibitor anymore. That because of this tooling, it makes it accessible even if you weren't a math person. Can you talk a little bit on that, on how it's still an opportunity for a lot of people, even if you don't have this math passion like the dorks like me?
Yeah, that's a great question. So, well, in all these programs, at the very beginning of the program, we really break down the fundamentals of data structures, the different data types, whether it be a number or text. And so,
Hmm.
really, we just break it down really simply to understand. And that simple understanding just gives people the foothold that then they can learn just one more step ahead, just one step at a time, more additional information added to that. And so, when they see themselves building onto these skills, really they learn way more than they would have thought they would have before they joined the program.
That's awesome. And again, there are many conversations over the years. I know how excited you are about, again, the human on the receiving end of that. So can you talk a little bit about, some potential like job opportunities? What direction is this going to open up for a lot of the novice learners who are trying to get their first steps in? What directions can they go
Yeah,
from these programs?
yeah, it's a great question too. The directions a learner can go in is really an endless amount of directions, um, whether it be in data analyst, data science, data engineer, or process automation specialist. Those are some of the main roles that they can apply to.
Mm-hmm.
But also
And that,
there's just yeah.
I'm sorry, I was just going to frame it a little bit. So thinking about 2024 and of course the availability of Gen AI, is that transforming the job opportunities? Is that indicating any sort of shift in what direction some people might go from an entry level opportunity?
Yeah, that's a good point. That now with these different tools, I think people can really get even more broad, different kind of jobs.
Mm-hmm.
Using generative AI because the answers are right there at their fingertips. And let's say someone, just maybe just had enough skills to get into a job. Well, then all of this technology really boosts them to excel at that career.
Awesome, awesome. Well, hey, I really appreciate you being on. Any final words of wisdom? Anything else that's really interesting that you're seeing right now? And again, 2024, another crazy year in this decade. Anything out there that you're really excited about seeing? What you're looking forward to coming up next?
Yeah, like you said, I'm real interested in the generative AI and learning more myself, and just real excited to teach people prompt engineering and how to
Mm-hmm.
use the prompts better, and how to make their own co-pilots using
Mm-hmm.
Microsoft Copilot, and how to use Copilot in Microsoft 365 applications. So yeah, I'm just really excited to meet other learners too in the program and to share these skills with them.
I appreciate that last plug for always modeling being a lifelong learner. You always got to stay in motion. So I appreciate you wrapping up with that. Jeremy, it's been a pleasure talking with you. And everybody else, thank you all for listening. We'll see you next time. Bye, Jeremy.